Welcome back to another racing video in iRacing, and this is the VRS Sprint. I've upgraded to a B license, and this was the first week that I'm racing GT3s. I really love it. A little bit difficult on this track because it's very small, and it's actually an old Super GT track that is in Australia, I think, but it's not anymore. It's a former track. I think it got torn down. And we managed to qualify in third place in this race.
Go. 2 litres remaining. Watson has retired from the race.
The weird thing was I was very unlucky, but I didn't see it actually at that moment. But I was car 27, which means with my rating I'm basically the last car, or from a rating point I'm the slowest, or should be the slowest. And I just managed to slip into the 4 split. There are 5, so it's not the slowest. It's a split with almost 1.3k average or strength of field. So I actually tried to qualify with 48 liters, which is race fuel, not with the qualifying amount of fuel, because I didn't want to have a too good quality time. So I'm slow at the beginning, but just to get kind of average, to be there in the middle and not have to rush it at first. But still, the qualifying time was a 1.38 something, which is for me pretty fast. It's, I think, a little bit more than 1 second behind the really good, or the top drivers. And but here we just try to hang on. We just try to keep the pace high and stay kind of with the top 5. The top 5 are all 1.3k drivers, or even the top 10 maybe. And I just want to stay with the top 5 pack. Maybe that would be the goal for this race. I guess over the time. I'm not so consistent that I can keep up with the top 3 or so, I guess, but let's see what happens. It's a 4-minute race, which is a sprint in iRacing GT3, and you have to kind of go full speed through these 40 minutes. For experienced drivers, this might not be an issue, but for me, it's only. I know 40 minutes is a long time for a race, in my opinion, but of course there's endurance races where you have to go much longer. But just to practice it, it's great, having fast drivers. You're under pressure. You kind of try to keep the consistency, to keep the nice lines. Here I'm overdriving the car a little bit. The BMW has a lot of punch below, because it has a turbo engine, so it's sometimes kind of hard to accelerate out of the corners. Or it's easier with Ferrari, for example, as it's a high revving engine, which is a little bit easier to accelerate. And also I think for some corners it's not optimal from the shift points, but it works kind of, and I'm now used to it. It's a lot of fun. The BMW Prototype, the M4 GT3 Prototype, here again you see there was a slight mistake, went too hard on the power, did not counter steer enough, and you lose time every time with any slides. But this is exactly the strong part of when I get punched or punted almost by the guy behind. Guess it wasn't on purpose. I was slowed down by the guy in front, and the bend is kind of hard to get right. You have to brake while cornering, and some cars do spin easily. Then the BMW is quite easy to drive in my opinion. It has excellent brakes. But it's not as precise, like for example the Ferrari. I've tried the Ferrari on this track also, and it's a little bit more precise.
Okay, Dave, don't let this guy distract you.
And I think a little bit easier with the gears, and also on throttle, because it hasn't that grunt in the lower RPM ranges, and but the BMW just has power. If you can put it down, then it's nice. It's really powerful car out of the Benz. It's a little bit, I guess, as maybe also the Ferrari. It's a car that does a little bit of understeer, so it's a little bit pushy, and that's why you have to trail brake a lot. And
the gap behind is now
and
0.9.
keep it cornering by applying just a slight smidge of brake. But for me, on the long run, it makes it easier to drive like that, because it's easier for me to manage understeer at the moment than they have to manage oversteer. Because some understeer will make you go wide, while oversteer can spin you. And just try to also, I've been practicing this track quite a lot this week. It wasn't so lucky in the first few races. I managed to bag in a pole in a strength of field with 900, but then I had a bad start, got punted, and fell back to 19th. So I think the second race was better, but I also had some mistakes. Wasn't that fast, and I think it was the 13th place, which I was happy. I'm really having fun. But this race, this is not really. It's fun. I'm not just trying to stay focused here to just get my laps in, and even if there's pressure from behind, I'm just trying to manage it. And there's not a lot of opportunities to overtake. You can basically only overtake if the other guys are doing a mistake, or if you're doing a mistake. But otherwise, it's pretty hard, or you have to be quite a bit of a part faster, and it's also dangerous. Let's say if you try to overtake after the start finish, going into the first corner, you're basically cornering with full speed and have to apply the brakes. And yeah, I mean it certainly goes with skilled drivers, but we're not yet so skilled here, and I'm trying to get better, but yeah. Here I go a little bit wide. That's one thing in that corner. You actually, if you hit the line, then you can go in the second gear, but the outside of the corner is kind of downwards, so it's pushing the car out, and sometimes I'm using the first gear just to get that turn in, to have the car rotate more. And also this part of the section, if you hit it correctly, you can go full speed through it. But sometimes you just have to lift a little bit and to let the car, to turn it in. Better than better lose a few tenths, or maybe just a tenth, than to cause a spin or an off track or anything like that. That's also something that I think I've learned better in the last few days. Just to, if you do an error, just to how to get away with it, how to compensate for it, or catch the car from spinning, or from or also if you get an off track, if you hit the grass, what to do. Normally you spin pretty fast, or sometimes, but like for example, if you get on the grass, you just don't do don't go on the throttle, because that will spin you, and just steer slightly, and you will also normally get away with it. See, this wasn't perfect, but it's kind of just adjusting to it. And this is also I think the difference between a good driver and somebody that's learning like me. I can pretty much get in a lap kind of quickly, and they can drive them consistently, and I'm working on that. I'm trying to to get fast, and also be fast consistently, or while I'm getting faster, that I can keep up the consistency with the lap times, and manage to drive with a certain pace. And that was something in this race that I felt was better than in the other ones before. And that's I during the race I kind of relaxed. I wasn't super nervous that the whole 40 minutes or you know, kind of pushing very hard. I kind of relaxed that I was still could keep up the speed, or even drive slightly faster when I was relaxed. And I think that is the goal, to, you know, be fast and stay cool. And for me, it was really fun when I actually looked at the iRatings, and all these drivers were 1.3k, and I'm the only guy with 1.1 fighting among them. Yeah, that was pretty good. What you also see on the left side, by the way, is a radar. It's from Race Labs, and because I'm only using one screen, I've got one 40-inch 40s flat TV, 4K TV, which is also hasn't the best of the refresh rates. I need to get this kind of feeling for the surrounding. Of course, I'm looking into the mirror and kind of trying to know where the other cars are. But it's the radar is an add-on that you can get from Race Labs. Ooh, and this was very close. Here I was able to catch the car when it was sliding by counter steering, which is lucky also. First I thought, ooh, this is it, I'm spinning. But yeah, this is the things that you feel when you progress, and suddenly you get the feeling for the car, and you just feel when it's getting into an oversteer, when it's kind of there's a situation where you have to do something, and you kind of stay cool and do the right thing without thinking a lot. It's not yet the quick reaction that a good driver has, but it was the correct measure to counter it and to stay on track and being able to continue with the race. Yeah. So what I'm just compensating with the radar is the lack of a triple screen or a super or ultra wide screen. That radar kind of shows me if a car is beside me or in front of me, just how near it is, and just to get a slight more an advantage to feel where they are. And here again I got oversteer, but yeah, I'm feeling the pressure of the guy behind. I think we had pretty matching lap times, and now he gets inside, and I'm letting him through this time without causing a crash or anything, because rather, you know, I lose one position and I'm still in the top 5, and can continue with the race. And this was just, you know, kind of a little bit losing the not the momentum, but the rhythm for the race, and I'm trying to regroup, trying to settle down, get into that rhythm back, to be able to turning the fast or the consistent lap times. And I'm rather that than, you know, regrouping, driving a few laps slower, rather than fighting and driving weirdly and all over the place. And that's also something I've learned. Sometimes it's better to drive a few laps a little bit slower, consistent, focus, and then get back into it and go for it. Otherwise, if you just push on harder, you'll make a mistake, you'll maybe collide with somebody, or you get an off track, or something like that. And yeah, that's of course in the race it won't help. So far, I was pretty happy with the race. I'm kind of it's about around 15 minutes now, and there seems to be a group of maybe 6 cars that are faster, or maybe 5 cars that are faster than the rest, that can go around. The top is going maybe 1.3 high to 1.4, and I can go around 1.5 if I or no 1.5. I can go around 1.4 medium, and this was a mistake. Slightly hit the wall. Luckily, no damage. And also the lap times dropped. 1.5 wasn't okay for this. By the way, the track was also a little bit cooled down. It was 5 degrees lower, which was a noticeable change. The grip was higher, the laps were faster, but the tires, the pressure didn't
The gap in front has increased to 2.2 seconds.
Into I think the optimal range. I guess I will have to look into this later on, but for upcoming races, you would slightly change or adjust the tire pressure, put it a little bit higher, I guess, that the tires get into a better range or are in a better position. I guess 2 or so degrees won't matter, but if it's 5 or 7 or so degrees, then I guess that's something that will help get the car to perform better. But I'll look into this. And here we're behind a back marker. The car looks pretty banged up, and I'm flashing him just to show him, hey, I want to overtake, but I don't want to put him under pressure or punt him off. But yeah, I guess that flashing was enough to make him nervous, and didn't want to actually that happens. Yeah, I didn't lose time myself, so yeah. Also for this track, the setup I'm using is a VRS setup, and it has a traction control setting of 7. Now this is, I guess, made for really good drivers, and I guess I'm not yet that good on the throttle, as you saw in some of the of the almost spins or of the slight drifts are coming out of the corner. I guess I could be faster if I would have upped the traction control maybe to 7 and maybe to 8 or maybe 10, because that would prevent that in acceleration. But actually on purpose didn't do it, because I just thought it's for me it's a better practice if I practice with a throttle that is that's a little bit more sensible, that applies more power, has less traction control. So I learned to manage the power of the car better. It's kind of like a challenge for me. I think this will also bite us, but you'll see that later on in the race. Currently we're about 18 minutes into the race, and it's kind of smooth sailing right now, just lapping, and I'm actually
that's 20 minutes to go.
Increasing
20
the
minutes.
gap between the cars behind me, and I'm kind of not getting nearer to Sander, which is in front of me in the Ferrari. So we're pretty even, and I think at some point I also tried to get closer again, started pushing a little bit more. So excuse me please. As you see, the last lap was 1:04.77 again. That is on pace. That is what I can drive if consistently, or should drive consistently, if I'm in the zone or if I'm in the rhythm with this car. Really fast lap, if I push it, should be around 104 low. If I'm lucky, I could also hit the 103 high, but that would have to be an optimal lap, and might be a little bit risky, but possible. And here, there's somewhere I struggle a little bit doing the consistent laps also with the BMW. Of course, it's also a 1.475, but I could have been maybe 1.4.5. I lose a couple of tenths with the spins are not hitting the exit of the corners perfectly. And here I also use the first gear now just to get the turning, quickly shift up into the seconds, and that makes that corner sometimes a little bit easier to drive. Even so, maybe it might not be that quick, but it just makes it more consistent then. And we're pulling a little bit near as Sander is running into a back marker. and luckily this guy is letting him through easy, so I think I'm flashing him just to show that I'm behind him, and I guess he anyway got the blue flag. This was a little bit weird. I didn't know if he would let me get through or anything, so I lost a little bit of time, but it doesn't matter. I was glad if somebody lets me through that easily. We can continue with the race. I think there were a lot of people were quite
the gap in front is now
annoyed
1.6.
that iRacing chose this track for GT3, and I also saw that it's a little bit hard, and it's maybe a bad track for me to start my my GT3 career. But now at the end, I kind of enjoyed it. It's so different, and it's very intense. The track is actually so small and so cramped with corners, and you need to trail brake and stuff. So there's no actually zone where you can relax a lot. The straight is just so short that you actually it's basically 40 minutes full speed concentrating, and for me it's cool. It was fun, and I think I learned a lot here, and that's the main thing. So for me, we're still on pace, still 1.4 medium mid, which is fine. And I'm actually happy with the 5th place. I'm not trying. I will go for an opportunity if there is one, but I will not try to overdrive or to push, as I think I have to manage the race. And anyway, early I'm kind of matching speed with this guy, but I guess he's been driving, I guess, for a few months more, has more experience, and is used to driving the GTR races, GT3 races, 40 minutes. So if I would have overtaken him, I guess he can apply the pressure longer than me, or contain, so manage the pressure. And for me, it's I have to kind of manage how fast I am and how long I'm driving full speed. It's 1:04:20, which is good. This is now fast. Good race pace. And of course happy if I can keep this up. I'm kind of getting closer to him. And there's again another back marker which we're running up to. Another Ferrari.
Alright Dave, 15 minutes left, that's 15 minutes.
And yeah, crew chief already mentioned it, 50 minutes left in the race. By the way, I've been starting with 48 liters, so I will be boxing earlier, and the reason for that is I wanted to have a fast car in the beginning of the race, because in my first race I went with a 60 liter fuel, and I was slow at the beginning, and other cars really actually were faster in the beginning, and I wasn't so secure, so I got pumped off the track, because it's hard to overtake, and in these lower splits, I guess people cannot manage to drive that well behind you, or some of them cannot. Ooh, and this is a bad mistake. I touched the curb with the inner wheel, and directly did a spin. So I know that I've got quite a cushion, but I have to get on track fast, not to lose too much. And here, as I'm on the inside, I keep the guy behind me, and this is already the next guy. So that's the cushion I had. After this, after driving, this was a really bad mistake, and I tried to take it easy to get back into the rhythm. Another driving, that's why I'm driving these cars safely. Let them run up if they want to. The guy behind me also makes a mistake, kind of, and then try to get back into zone. So that's something that happens very easily. You have to be very careful if you apply power on certain curves. That was just enough, and the car just span out. Maybe it would have helped here and that's what I'm thinking now. If I had the traction control set to 9 or 10, no, maybe to 9 or so, not sure. Maybe it wouldn't have spun so fast and could have counter steered or done something to not spin. But yeah, so we'll have to deal with it. So basically, I didn't lose any spot. I'm still in 5th place. And I was just kind of managing to try to get back on track, trying to push with the rest of the fuel. This shouldn't actually happen right now because now with having only around 4 kilograms of fuel, I think it's about 5 liters of fuel. These are the moments where you actually should drive fast, where you catch the other guys that may be slow, where you can gain. So these are the laps where I actually should have these low 104s or maybe even a 103 high. But yeah, we'll just go on. Doesn't matter. Let's just keep it in mind.
The gap ahead is now 17 seconds.
And I lost 17 seconds to Sander with a spin. But maybe we can kind of catch that if he does a mistake. Never know. Or if we have a good pit in. By the way, also something that I've learned from other streams and watching like really good guys, like I like to watch Riley Sim Racing, very good guys from Saxony, with very good tips and tricks for beginners, a German channel. I've learned to kind of practice a pit in before you go to a race that has a pit. You need to know how to approach the pit lane, not to lose too much time, because every second you lose during pitting is a second that you need to catch up with driving, and that you cannot catch up 1 or 2 seconds that you've lost there. Basically, it's just something that is very, very important. So I know kind of how to get into the pits without losing too much. And also when to accelerate. I'm not overdoing it. I'm not doing it like a pro, going full speed and braking on the last meters, but just not being too slow into it. And I've still got fuel for one more lap. But at that time I wasn't sure anymore, because my calculator is liters and this shows kilos, and that's not the same. So I was a little bit confused at this time. So I went for pits here.
Exits. We can go faster here. Okay, Dave.
You see,
10
I'm
minutes to
kind
go.
of moving up quickly and applying, putting the pit limiter in. This wasn't a slow pit in. So I didn't lose a lot of time here. I have to drive quite far, and I'm using race labs also. The fuel manager there, and it will auto refuel to a certain amount, plus I think maybe almost one more lap. And I know it's easier if you would apply already the gas or the throttle. But I'm not losing much. This may be half of a second that I'm losing here, and we're out.
There's traffic behind. Take care.
So that was a pretty good. For me, this was my first actually really pit in where I actually managed to hit it quite nicely. It was faster than the others that I had in the other races. It's also kind of fun, and I'm up to the back markers now. This is now the downside of carrying less fuel in the beginning, as I didn't drive out that much of a gap, or I lost the gap to them. If I wouldn't have spun, I would have been before these guys, but we can make it work and not lose too much time, I guess. But you see the difference here with these cars. This one also has damage. They kind of drive different lines, not that fast sometimes. And I'm using the flasher just to make sure that they know I'm coming, and to overtake them. And getting me in front of him, The BMW has, I think, the latest brake point here from all cars. And that's why I was sure I could get in front of him. And he kind of tries to push still, and I'm not driving clean, so that's I still got him behind me. But as soon as I'm getting into the zone and not doing mistakes like this, I should be able to pull away easily again. Through this part, it's I was much more quicker than him before, so I can clearly pull away from this back marker again. And I think also something that you also have to keep in mind. I mean, it's logical if you say it like that, but it doesn't seem logical to other drivers sometimes. If you drive behind another car, you have to, or you should know how he's driving. If it's a back marker, if he's slower, he will maybe have different braking points, and you shouldn't be just going for your braking points. If he's braking earlier, you have to adjust, so you kind of keep that in mind, just not to crash out others, because it's actually, I don't find it hard to follow other cars or slower cars and to just manage that. But there seems to be a lot of guys that they push hard and they can drive pretty quick laps, but they cannot drive the track if they go slower or if they go behind a car. And it's just something you need to get used to, driving behind or near to other cars while maintaining your lines and your speed and still having reserves, and putting the car into a position maybe to out accelerate them in when you're coming onto a straight like here. If you know you're behind the back marker, it's the best position to come out good. Not like this, would be here, get close to him before that bend, and then really push out of that corner and have that advantage over that long straight. And we're at 1:45.57. That is okay for the pace, and now I can kind of try to catch up again to the others. I guess or I hope that my pitting was that good that I can kind of catch up to some, or can gain a few seconds. Maybe some of the other guys are not pitting that's good, or maybe also refueling more or too much, which basically which costs seconds. The indicator for pitting isn't correct here, shown as on the left side. Also, as you can see, the ranking isn't correct. I still have to find a way to have this on the replays, or I have to capture my races
directly. Is now in the lead. What's your speed? Okay, Dave, there'll be chances here. Let's make sure we can take them. 5 minutes remaining. 5 minutes left.
To capture the clips directly within Elgato. But yeah, so this is still I'm not kind of keeping the pace up. It's 1:04.5. That's okay. So we're certainly gaining on everybody that has not pitted in, which was slower before. And never know, maybe we'll also see Sander again, but let's see. So we're now in the last, I think it's about six minutes left in the race. Around 5 minutes left in the race, and we meet Sanders here. Sander here. He has done a mistake. He's been falling back through that. I guess he spun. I'm not sure, but I guess that was the 17 seconds that I lost. Maybe also I lost some seconds in the pit. And I'm just trying to put pressure on him. Not trying to overtake, because I know we can go about the similar pace, so it'll be hard. But I'm just trying to push it now and just risk a little bit something.
The gap is 0.45.
This bend is really, really weird. There's a bump before it. You're braking and going off the bump and have to turn in. But at the same time, weird. It's challenging, and challenging is also fun. and he drove a little bit cleaner than me here, so I was able to pull away. But there's a back marker that we're running up, or maybe a car that hasn't pitted yet. I guess it's a back marker. And again, slightly too much, or not enough counter steer. And as you can see here, I try to push and I'm slower than before. That's something that sometimes happens if you overdo it or overdrive the car. Then you miss apexes, you miss the good braking points, and don't drive so clean. That's also something I got to work on. But so I'm faster if I drive cool. This guy goes to the side. I'm not sure if he actually was a back marker or just a guy that hadn't pitted yet. Well, we both go past him.
2 minutes to go, 2 minutes.
And the last 2 minutes will be hopefully be a little bit of a chase. But he's really driving cleanly now, so not sure if I can do anything here. But really, these moments, just the fighting and chasing others, and also I love driving in packs when it's a lot of cars. But when they drive cleanly, it's just fun because you have to watch everything, to try to manage, also avoid some other cars sometimes. Yeah, it's just fun. I really truly love the game, and this mistake maybe cost me possibly the being able to do something now. And I'm kind of overdriving the car, and that's one thing I kind of take out of this game, I did take out of this race that I think I learned. I guess I was pretty quick for my rating here, but I did overdrive the car a few times, and that made me slow, and it's something good to know or keep in your mind. As you can see here again, 1.5, could be a half a second faster, just driving cool. And hitting the apexes, especially with an empty car, with no fuel on board, actually can be faster. And here also almost spun it, but this time we could manage it. Here also, but it's just a little bit too much risk now, but it was fun kind of, and that's why here this was what I meant. If you get off track, how to manage it. I kind of took myself out of the chase now here. Had a little bit of a mistake, but yeah. But that's something I got to learn. It's on 5th place, and this is the last lap that we're doing. I guess it was the last lap. And it was hell of a fun.
The gap behind has now decreased to 9.9.
You know, the really truly awesome thing about iRacing is the system is a skill-based or the rating-based races that you are matched up with people that are similar to you, and which makes the racing close. And I'm really looking forward to get faster, learn more, get more into the tech details also. Yeah, really love it. And I'm not even sure, was this the last lap? No, this is the last lap, I guess. Yeah. I saw because the 40 minutes were over, but I think it's also counting the time before the race. So the replay isn't that consistent. So this was the last lap, I guess. And here again I make a mistake. Could pull up to him, but pushed too hard. And this time I got kind of out, a little bit distracted by this guy. But the guy behind is a back marker, and so he shouldn't actually attack me. So I think 1 or 2 laps behind my car. This wasn't even the last lap. It's it's kind of confusing because the time has already passed. Or was it 45 minutes? Could also be possible. And again here, at the end I made a few mistakes here, just not being concentrated that much anymore. But the good thing was
now 2.0 seconds.
Without spinning, without crashing or anything. And that's one thing that I'm glad of, to kind of learn to manage the mistakes that you make, to compensate for them, because they will happen. So, and this was the end of the race. So I was the quad 27, place 5 of 27 in a strengths of field of 1,272. So I'm very happy. This was a plus 75 iRating, safety rating went up plus 12. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next GT3 races. Next track will be, sure. Yeah, we'll see next track. But that will be the next race that I guess I will show you next week. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and stay safe. Bye bye.